Hey everyone, and welcome to Television from the Multiverse, the DC TV podcast from MailFuzz TV. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and yeah, we're going to talk about this week's DC shows, including Supergirl, The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, and I did watch Arrow, although I don't think Connor did. I think I'm on my own this week. Oh no, that means I'm not.
Yes, yes.
He fit it in somehow. He likes to play sly, he likes to pretend he's not watched it.
I mean, it's not that I just don't tell you.
Okay. All right. So I guess we both watched Arrow this week as well. Then we'll be talking about all four.
I did drink, so it was fine.
I legitimately don't know where you're fitting in a drunk viewing of Arrow.
Nor do I.
I'm fairly familiar with your schedule, and I have no idea where you're fitting in.
I'm not sure either. It just kind of happens.
Okay, so obviously we typically just go in the order of the air, so we will keep that tradition going, and we will start with Supergirl. Obviously, for each show we'll have spoilers for that show, but we'll try not to cross-pollinate the spoilers too much, so that if you're skipping to timestamps, which are in the description, I've been putting timestamps, so if you want to just skip to The Flash or skip to Legends or whatever, you can do. But we'll start with Supergirl. This is season 3, episode 3. It's called Far From the Tree, and so you know what, I do this with the movies, and I don't really do it with the TV shows. But I think for this podcast, I want to get just a general idea. Did you like it or not before we actually talk about the details and the plot?
You're throwing me. I don't like this.
Oh, I'm sorry. What can I say?
It was all right. I liked it. I didn't love it.
I really liked parts of it. And there was other parts I was kind of like, eh. And there was other parts I was like, that's a bit weird.
Yeah, so it evens out as, I liked it.
Yeah, kind of. It's kind of like, because the moments I liked, I really liked, you know? But then there was other moments, so that's a bit weird. And then there was one particular moment I went, you're having your cake and you're eating it too, stop it. So more on that in a minute. But, yeah, so the plot of this one is obviously we had the tease last episode that McGann's like, hey Jean, we need you on Mars, and it needs to be you specifically. And I'll give them credit when she came saying she wanted help, and I thought it was probably just to go and help fight something. I thought, well, it doesn't really need to specifically be him, but to be fair, it did specifically need to be him given
It did, yeah.
the conundrum, because Jean's father is somehow alive, and as soon as he started speaking, his father, I was like, that voice sounds familiar.
Yeah.
What did I know that voice from? And it took a couple of seconds, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's Jean Jones. That's Martian Manhunter from the Justice League cartoon. God damn it.
Yeah, it was brilliant. These shows as a whole have been fantastic with the legacy casting.
They like to do it, but is this the first time we've done it with an animated voice from like one of the old animated shows? It might be.
That I recall.
Yeah. But it's a nice touch, though. It's almost like, I mean, there was a live action Manhunter in Smallville, I believe, but I mean...
There was, yeah.
But no, animated one's the proper one. And here we are, so that was a nice touch. But Supergirl's like, hey, I'm not letting you go alone. I'm going to miss the gay shower, the gay wedding shower. I'll miss that. I'll come with you.
It took me a second then. You just went, I'm going to miss the gay shower. And I'm like, I watched this days ago. What have I missed?
Wedding shower.
Yeah, that made more sense once you clarified. But there was just a second where I was like, did we watch the same episode?
And so Jean takes her to this car, what he's very precious about. He's like, hey, watch the leather, Supergirl. He's very precious about it. But it turns into a spaceship. Basically, it's a shape-shifting mobile.
It's Lola.
From S.H.I.E.L.D. I was making that comparison myself. I was thinking
it's the same model car, I'm pretty sure.
Is it? I don't know my car's well enough to notice.
Very similar, if not.
It was a different colour.
Yeah, I admit I haven't seen Lola in a while, so maybe I'm misremembering slightly.
Yeah, Lola was red, I'm sure.
Lola's definitely red, yeah.
Obviously, the same make can be a different colour. I'm just...
Yeah.
This is the extent of which my knowledge goes for the cars. It was a different
colour.
colour.
It's like, well, it wasn't the same colour.
They were both convertibles. I can at least confirm that.
Yeah.
So, goes to the spaceship and they go up to Mars. And I'm like, okay, I don't know where else is going. Then it introduced Dad, and I'm like, oh, okay, alright, that was different from what I was expecting. And this is the stuff that I at least mostly liked, that I really liked, was the Jean and his dad stuff. Particularly when they went to their old home. And we got, the Martian Manhunter sad, like, my planet's destroyed theme as they walk in. And obviously, they played off each other well. I like Supergirl being like, "Hey, I'm also from a dead planet. Maybe give him a chance."
Yeah, the moment I really liked is when he's trying to convince him that he is him. When he's still in the cell, and he goes, "Oh, I fled to Earth. I survived." And he's like, "Well, that's it then. Nah, he'd never have run away."
But yeah,
It's just you just feel that's gotta hurt.
Yeah, because he doesn't believe that it's really him. Because he's been in a white Martian concentration camp for
200 years, I think.
200 years, yeah, centuries. So obviously they've played a lot of telepathic tricks on him, trying to get him to talk. Because basically the white Martians, both good and bad, are looking for this magical spear that's buried somewhere on Mars, and he knows the location, and he thinks this is a trick to get it out of them. But yeah, so they end up going to their home, their old home, and we get this great thing where Jean's like, he does the mind meld, if I want to call it that, and they share this flashback, this memory of, just to convince him that it's really him. He's like, here's this memory that you were there too, and it was like him with Jean's daughters, and they're going to surprise Jean on his birthday. And there's a really sweet scene. I mean, admittedly, yeah, if you want to nitpick all this, sure, the CG, it's not amazing.
I think my big one is like, why was it kind of projected? Because Kara was seeing it as well.
Kara was seeing it. That is true.
It threw me. I was like, isn't this in the two of them's heads? Why is she seeing this? It just confused me a little bit.
Maybe they're just letting her see it as well.
I mean, they could be, but I mean, it seems weird. This intensely private, personal memory. It's like, this is how I'm going to convince you, but she can see it too.
That said, I did like the sweet moment where she says how beautiful his daughters are. I like that moment.
No, that's it. I like what it's doing. I just thought it was really weird.
Yeah, that's just in her head as well. They're just letting her see it, so she's not left out in the scene.
It works for me.
Because that's the funny thing about this episode, is that Supergirl, for a lot of it, is just kind of standing around. Well, the main thing is Jean. But I'm actually kind of okay with that. Like, once in a while, let another character have the spotlight. Let her be the support.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's okay, then that's what we got. And there was a nice episode for Jean. The problems I have with the Mars stuff in this episode... So, now, admittedly, they tried to put in a little line to justify it at one point, but I was like, why are they all turning into humans?
Yeah, it was weird.
I was like, that's just bullshit. Why are they all turning into humans? And then, Jean's dad at one point is like, oh, it's the custom of my people to take the appearance of our guests. I'm like, nice try. Nice try.
Yeah. Basically, budget.
Yeah, that's...
He might as well have just looked at the camera and gone, budget, and then changed into a human.
Yeah, I mean, that's the real reason, obviously, but it was a bit weird, it was just a bit strange, especially, because then Jean turns back into his human form to go and talk to him again.
Yeah.
And that was a bit weird, and then, what I thought was really strange, right, so, for whatever reason, we've long established, because the actor playing him in the animated series, the actor who played him on Smallville, and now the actor who plays Jean on this show have all been black, right? So we have this kind of correlation that for whatever reason they shapeshift into a black person, right? Which is fine, but here's a legitimate point though I want to make about this, is later on, so Jean's dad's like, oh, the staff's here, and some evil white Martians show up, and then the good team show up, and they all turn into white Martians, they're all fighting. And I was thinking, how could anyone tell any of these white Martians apart? But I sort of just went, oh, whatever, because it's just a budget thing. They can't make them all look distinct.
Yeah.
And I thought, just for the sake of the scene, the characters can tell, right? We can't tell, but the characters can. But then one of them makes a point. He turns back into a human form. He's like, oh, how did you know which one was me? After Supergirl, blasts one of them. And she's like, oh, I just did. And I'm like, oh, right, okay. So white Martians do actually...
Did she not say, I didn't?
Yeah, I didn't, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah, that was the line.
The complete opposite of what you just said.
Okay, the point... Yeah, fine, right. I misremembered the line. Sue me. Right, but the point I'm making is... So, no, they're saying that white Martians actually do legitimately all look alike, which is really weird when they turn into human form, they all turn into black people. I just feel like there's a weird correlation here between those two things. I don't think it's intentional. I don't think they intended to have...
No,
especially,
that's what you're saying.
Because this show typically is very, has a very liberal viewpoint.
I think the argument for why they all look the same as white Martians is, they're all telepathic. They don't need to see each other to know who's who.
That's actually a very good reason. I'll give you that.
Okay. I thought you were going to...
No, that's not bad.
I think I'm just used to you arguing with me.
No, I actually think that's a very... No, you're right. Visually, it doesn't really matter, because they can just kind of tell from their minds.
And like you said, they all choose their form anyway, so they all went, that's what a white Martian looks like. We all look like that.
Although it then does beg the question, they know they're going into battle with someone who's not a Martian, should they not make it, at least have like wear a thing or something to
Yeah,
make
like
it clear?
make little like circle armbands to go right. That's one armband is this guy, two armbands is that one, blue armbands is him.
Not even individually, just we're the good team, so we all have a band.
Oh yeah, so we all I get you.
Yeah, so we're not the bad Martians who are over that side.
Maybe they should.
Yeah, it was. I don't think they meant it, but it really was like, oh, that was a weird line to put in there.
No, it didn't occur to me, but kind of is, yeah.
It was almost like he was saying, "How could you tell? We all look alike." And I'm like, okay, I don't think it's intentional, but there's a weird parallel there that feels a bit off.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying.
That said, the fight itself was cool, and I assume you enjoyed the start of the fight with Supergirl in the car cranking out Britney Spears.
I kind of loved it, I'm not gonna lie.
I'm sure you did.
That hits me in the this is amazing spot of the brain.
It made me smile. It was funny. It was exactly the dorky thing that she would do on this show.
Which is, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I'll give it that. So they get the spear, but even the asshole who was kind of like forceful and wanted to like just kind of torture Jean's father to get the information, kind of agreed, you know what, this is too powerful for either side to have. Take this back to Earth and keep it away from us. So they did bring it back to Earth, along with Jean's father, which I did not see coming. I thought...
No, I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah,
but, like, I mean, just from a plot point, it makes sense. Yeah. But like you say, I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, so he might be around on Earth for a while. We'll see. I expect him to die tragically at some point during the season, though.
Probably.
John's
going to have to watch.
And John's going to have to watch, and it's going to send him into a Martian
rage. Or
rage.
if he's not physically watching, he'll be mentally linked as it happens, and he'll feel him die.
Yeah. So it was nice when they arrived back on Earth and like Supergirl flies off. He's like, "Oh, can they all do that on this planet?" Which I thought was weird because they can fly as well, but maybe he doesn't know that yet.
He might not.
Yeah.
And maybe it was just the impact of it.
Yeah.
It's quite her flight's quite powerful, whereas John's is a bit more subdued.
Yeah, that's fair. I like how it's a really like just a industrial crappy part of town under their bridge. It's like nothing special at all, and he's like, "Oh, I quite like this."
Yeah. Nice. I'm gonna go live under that bridge.
So that was just weird. I was just kind of your fish out of water kind of moment of humor. So the rest of the plot of the episode was the previously mentioned gay shower with Alex and Maggie, and a lot of this revolved around, will Maggie ask her father to come and because we've heard it before that he reacted very poorly when she came out, and we'd heard the story to a point. I do kind of like that we'd heard part of it before, and when we heard it again here, and it was like the more of it did link up nicely with what we'd already heard. It was like, yeah, the whole thing where she told a girl she liked her dad freaked out because he found out, but we didn't really necessarily hear every part of it, which is what Alex's mother hears here. And Alex is like, "Oh, maybe you should talk to him." And she's like, "No, I don't want to talk to him. Stop talking to him about it." And then she talks to him in the middle of the night and asks him to come, and he comes, and it's Tony from the shoot from 24, which just because you know him from that
means nothing to me.
Means nothing to you, but I recognised him, and cool. It's all very awkward. And he comes over to the shower, and he's being nice. He puts a picture of her up on the board because there's no pictures of her as a little girl because she doesn't know anyone who kept any because she got carted off, in her early teens, and it's all going fine. A little bit awkward, sure, but it's all going fine until Alex and Maggie kiss at one point after a present's given, and he bolts out of the house, and Maggie chases out after him, and here's where I'm going to critique. I said earlier on they're having their cake and eating it too. This is the scene I was talking about, because I think the scene's fine from a drama point of view, and the way they argue here, and the points his points are not good, but like in terms of like a character, like I get
you get why he's saying that.
Yeah, but the reason why I'm thinking they're having a cake and eat it too, because at one point he references that they're building a wall to keep us out, and I'm like, wait a minute, your president's Wonder Woman, and she has been like the opposite of everything Trump has said every time we've heard her speak.
Yep.
and yet you're referencing the wall that Trump wants to build. I don't know. I feel like you're having your cake and eating it too.
One or the other.
Yeah, you can't have both. I mean, yeah, pick one, pick a side. And this is the one that sticks out because every other one's been the opposite.
Yeah, every other time they've made a reference to something, it's been just general things, general ideas. Where this is very specific to do with Trump, and it's like no, only Trump, and it's like, well, you can't really do this.
Yeah,
not and have her.
Exactly. So it just it's a bit weird, and then. It's funny because it's basically Maggie's subplot this episode. The episode divides into two things: Maggie's subplot with her father and the Mars stuff. It's basically her and Jean that get all the because I mean, Win and Jimmy, you see them briefly at the party, for a second. No Lena.
This dawned on me, one of my biggest problems right now.
Okay.
And it kind of I realized kind of early on this episode, and it kind of ruined a lot of this side of the episode for me.
Okay.
Maggie has no plot ever outside of her relationship with Alex.
Most of the time.
Unless she's there on a case. No.
Yeah.
I can't think of a single instance where she's done anything that wasn't just on the case with the others or with Alex. Even all of this stuff that's her thing is all in relation to Alex.
I'm going to dispute that slightly, actually. I mean, because of course it's in relation to Alex and that she's in the relationship with her, but this is still very much her story this episode. I think that's a bit unfair.
I mean, I get you.
That means you could never do anything about her being gay and without saying, oh, it's connected to Alex, so it's actually through Alex.
Okay. I think that's probably more my big problem. They've never done anything with her except do a story about her being gay. I want a character out of her to do anything. She hasn't done anything since she's been introduced except be in this relationship, which is fine. It's a really good relationship, but I want more.
I mean, yeah, but that's more than to do with some other characters, though. It feels like a weird thing to pick on her specifically when, okay, sure, they tried the Guardian thing with Jimmy, and it was okay.
We complained all season about how Jimmy wasn't there, so...
Yeah, so Jimmy's kind of been shafted. And we like Win loads, but ultimately he's kind of just a comic relief. And yeah, he had a bit of a relationship for a little while last season.
He is now. He had the really great thing with his father, though.
Aye, for one episode.
Yeah, but that was it was one episode of a plot, but it was kind of an underlying thing for quite a while.
I guess what I'm saying is they actually went out of their way in this episode to give her something that was specific to her. And I feel like...
Yeah.
I feel like I disagree with the complaint because this was solely about her. Alex was a supporting character in this story, which is why I think the complaint's not valid.
Yeah, I guess I just want more out of a character.
Yeah, maybe they'll give us more. Maybe they won't. I did notice in the credits it credited her as special guest star, which makes me wonder.
Yeah, she has been. Yeah, she was downgraded over the break.
It does make me wonder if there's a dark occurrence going to happen to her.
I mean, you say that. I don't think it is going to be that dark, given that all of this is even in this episode. It comes back to whether or not they want kids.
After she goes to her dad and says, I've realised I don't really need you. I'm struggling that. Piss off.
Yeah.
It was basically the end of that.
She goes to Alex, and Alex, maybe you'll change your mind about some things, and she's like, nope. And I think it's just going to be a split between the two of them because of that, and it'll divide them more.
You may be right, although the end of that scene didn't play that way though for me.
Did not?
No, I mean, Alex seemed kind of... I mean, maybe she'll go back on it. It might be. But to me, because they set it up last episode and then this came back to it and she was okay with it here, it just felt like a closed book to me.
I think this is where I disagree that she was okay with it. To me, it didn't read that way because, Maggie says, oh, you're enough for me and, that's all I need. And she goes, am I enough for you? Is that... And Alex says, yeah, but I didn't believe it. It felt like one of those kind of covers to me.
I mean, you may be right. If it does, I'll criticise this scene because I don't think it plays that way at the end.
Okay.
I actually feel like she's just kind of genuinely saying, nah, of course you are. Because that's the sentence she says, of course you are.
Yeah, it's possible that she thinks that she is right now, so it's genuine in the moment. But I don't know. I just thought, well, it's not gonna last. Maybe I'm just cynical.
See, I'm kind of ready for this to be the end of the kid debate and never bring it up again.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of
Yeah.
hoping I'm right just because of
I
that.
honestly, I hope you're right too, and it's rare I say that. Yeah, it's weird. I don't like saying that.
Yeah. So it basically divvied into those two plots. So it meant some other side characters were barely there. Lena wasn't even there at all. Rain wasn't there at all. But I think that's okay. I think I actually liked that it took focus. There was just some weird elements in both plots that didn't necessarily make it completely work. But there was some elements I did really like in both. And obviously, some of the complaints I had were basically just about budget. It was just like, yeah, we can't have them all be white Martians all the time. I get that. I really do.
Yeah, it's not. It's a complaint that you have to make just because
Yeah.
you have to point it out, but it's not really much they can do about it.
Because logically they shouldn't, but I get it for budget reasons, so it's fine. I will say, unfortunately, that Mon-El is still listed on IMDb as cast. You know, he's still credited, but it says credit only, implying that he will be showing up.
How is he a series regular, but Maggie's not?
Maggie's been in every episode, and she's had an episode focused on her, which was a pretty decent little arc for her. She stood up and said, you know what, I don't need your dad.
And I guess maybe that's a bigger sign that she's going soon. She's
Yeah,
had the
maybe.
episode about her. I remember when that happened to other characters who have died on these shows.
Yeah, potentially could be dark. I don't know. Maybe that's how maybe like Rain, like somehow either intentionally or before she's proper evil, accidentally ends up inadvertently killing her, and that puts the divide in or something. I don't know. I don't know.
I'm just sad that this is going to be over.
Yeah, it's a shame because they've handled them pretty well for the most part. There's been the odd bump in the road, but for the most part, they've handled that relationship really well.
I think it's felt like such a stable relationship. Other than, that Maggie has this weird thing about lying to Alex about, her past. Like even in this one, we'd heard about the story of what happened, but even here it's like, well, hang on, there's more to this story that you didn't mention before.
Yeah.
It's been a really stable relationship. It feels like it doesn't feel like how some TV relationships you go, okay, this is done by the end of the season, and then the other ones are like, okay, well, this is here to last.
Yeah. So it was a 50-50 episode overall, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it wasn't divided by plot that you think it would be. There was really good parts in both plots, but then there was really iffy parts in both plots, and then some budget complaint things, some technical things.
Yeah.
The sets were good. I liked all the sets in Mars actually. They look pretty neat.
I like the spaceship.
Spaceship's pretty cool.
It's got a nice design.
Yeah. All right, I guess we'll go on to The Flash, which, if I change my tabs to get the title, because I was not prepared, Season 4, Episode 3, it's called Luck Be a Lady, and so last week we talked about how they turned up the comedy for the episode. That has stuck for this one. This was also pretty hilarious, and whoever on the creative team decided to turn up the comedy deserves a promotion. I put out such a tweet this week because it is benefiting it immensely.
It is. It feels like that has to have come from showrunner level because it's so across the board.
Yeah, this episode was a blast, and it's funny because there was also a moment where I was like questioning something, and then 2 seconds later they actually addressed it, and I never thought they would.
What was it you were questioning?
Just as they were celebrating they'd saved the day, I was like, where the hell's Wally been for the last half of this episode? He's just vanished. And Wally comes in, it's like, yeah, you've all been so caught up, you never even noticed I wasn't here. And I'm like, oh, they're actually using this. This is amazing.
I can't lie. I didn't notice that he wasn't there, which kind of proves the point that it goes on to make.
Yeah. It's a weird thing, though, because it's their own... Well, not the characters, but it's the writer's own fault that he's in that position, where they've not really given him... Although I'm wanting to get fast last season and get powers, once that happened, he's just kind of been in a holding pattern of, I want to be a hero, and I'm not being a hero very much.
Yeah, and hey Jesse.
And hey Jesse, yeah, the breakup kit. Because
breakup cube.
Was it cube? Sorry.
Yeah, it was a cube.
I like the idea of kit more. I like the idea to sell it as a kit. And it comes, has some tissues that come out in case you start crying, and... obviously,
see, I think it's funnier that it's a cube because it's like oh, it's a kit. Okay, these are the things you need. But if it's a cube, it's way more impersonal. It's like, here, have a cube.
Because breakup kit sounds super thoughtful.
It sounds better than breakup cube.
Yeah, because having your dad deliver it, and then when it breaks, your dad has to recite the message, which includes saying "You were my first," in said message. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because that's better.
That's touche.
So, and everyone's standing. I feel like everyone else who was standing watching should have left the room once they realised that this was a breakup. That seemed like it should have been what happened, but no, they were all a bunch of nosy bastards, and they all stood there and listened to every single word. Ah, dear. So it's funny. I want to give it some credit as well, because obviously at the end of the last episode, it was like, oh, here we have 1 out of 12 metahumans that we're going to be fighting over the next 12 episodes, probably. Maybe spread it out a bit more. Maybe they'll be nice to us and give us like 3 in one episode. They'll be like a team of them.
That would be nice.
Which would make sense given their origin that we're all on the same bus, because it makes sense maybe a couple of people were together.
Yeah, they're friends, family, maybe.
Exactly. But because they started the episode with a really, because the last 2 episodes have both ended with like a really kind of like, as much as we liked last week's episode, the thinker scene at the end was just like whatever, cheesy thinker set, and him being like, aha, we'll find the rest of them. This week we started with a thinker, and he's like, okay, right, who's the next one on the list? And we got a really cool little like introduction montage of this person, which led up to finding out how they got their powers all on the bus. But it's like how she's really unlucky. She gets fired from her job, her car breaks, or her car gets impounded and stuff. Like all these things happen to her, and she's really unlucky. And she turns out to be Hazard, who is really lucky, but because she's so lucky, it drains the luck from everyone else around her. Which creates a lot of debates in the episode about bad juju, and Harry not believing in said juju. It's all just coincidence and quantum entanglement, according to him.
I think this is one of the best powers that you can have yet.
I don't know if it's the best powers you can have.
I said one of.
I do think it's one of the most entertaining powers, because see in the middle of the episode when Barry goes to talk to her, and he starts looking around at all the possible things that can go wrong. It started to feel like a weird hyper version of Final Destination, with the guy with the power tool, you got someone up on a ladder, you've got the girl up in the balcony like holding the hot coffee. Like,
it's been a while, but Final Destination has the premonitions, right?
There is a premonition element to it, yeah.
Yeah. That kind of feels like, Barry's like, he's so fast it goes slow motion, and he's it's kind of the same sort of thing.
Yeah, but just the idea of all these wacky things, because when he tries to catch her when she's robbing the bank, they let her walk in and just take money because she's that lucky. But Barry gets stopped because the bad luck that kind of follows her knocks over a crate of marbles, and he runs over marbles and slips Home Alone style. It's kind of glorious and funny, and I was okay with it. Speaking of the comedy, like I feel like Iris improved a lot last season, because it was kind of like what you were saying about Maggie on Supergirl, how maybe you felt like she didn't really have much of a character beyond being the love interest. Season 3 kind of changed that. It made her, like, because she was scared for her own life, it gave her a bit of a badass thing where she was trying to like prove it wrong, and like, well, if I'm going to die in that's also kind of Final Destination. Actually, that was a plot point in those movies.
It was, yeah.
Whereas if you're not next up in the list to die, then technically you're invincible, and no matter what you do, you'll not die. So we're making some weird comparisons to that franchise this episode, but
I never expected this.
So we've got that. Obviously, she's a leader now. She's got more to do. But I think the humor on top of that is making her one of my favorite characters. There was 2 moments in this in particular that were cracking me up. So they lose their hotel, their wedding venue, and then they're happy that this other couple broke up because now they can get their venue. But then their venue burns down in a fire, and then their previous venue that they gave up was taken by someone else. So Iris just grabs Barry. Look, we're going to the church. We're doing this now, and they're getting up after a funeral, and they're squeezing past the coffin, trying to get up to the front. And the whole thing's very funny because the priest ends up having an allergy reaction, because the altar boys put something like cinnamon blend.
Yeah, and the altar boy is, what a dick.
I know, he looks pure evil, and I just love how the other priest is like, shame on you, boy. He's a character.
I mean, you won't get this, but I expected the shame bell from Game of Thrones, just someone to come and ring that.
No, you're right, I don't get it. But it was just like, shame on you, boy, as he walks away. And then Barry's just like, well, it was a nice funeral, and Iris's look like, Barry, really? And then just walks off. Had me in stitches.
The moment that got me was when they got there, the priest left. She just let us, reset the altar and everything. And she's like, no, it's fine. Look, I'll just do this, and just runs up to the picture and just turns it around of this dead guy.
Yeah, she's cracking me up. Earlier on, it was when like they find out that they might have accidentally made all these new metas. Because I mean, I actually thought it was funny when Joe's like, "Where are all these new metas coming from? I've already dealt with all the collider thing going off, and we've dealt with all the Earth 2-1s season 2. Like, where are all these metas coming from?" And they find out it was them. It was like when Barry came back, that portal opening from the Speed Force is what did it next to the bus. They're all just sort of sitting around looking really depressed, and Iris is just like, maybe we should burn some sage. It was the way she said it. It was and I'm not saying this to make my reference, but it was a very like Buffy-esque kind of moment to me, where I can just sort of see them all sitting in the magic shop, just kind of been like, maybe we should do this. Just kind of like defeated. Like it had that feel to me. Genuinely, like, hey, I never said my phrase. All right, that's why you're knowing it's a genuine comparison and not me just hitting my phrase.
All right, I'll let you off.
Aye, good. Other comedy highlights: they're playing laser tag at the start, and I knew it was bullshit because it starts off in this really close-up shot of Cisco, and it's all slow motion, like things are really bad. He's like, Barry, just run. Barry, run. And then Barry jumps out to shoot a kid with his laser, and he gets hit immediately. And then Cisco just goes, "You have failed this, say," and jumps out.
That cracked me up so much.
Oh my god, that is such a good line. Such a good dig at Arrow.
I really hope come the next crossover, he mentions to Oliver's like, "Hey, cheers for the catchphrase."
And then he gets shot in the back from what was the kid's name? Oh, that's going to bug me. It's a little ginger kid, though. I didn't notice in the laser tag because all the lights are, different colours and stuff. But when they're outside, he's like, "Hey, you little bastard," whatever his name is. He's like, next time we get paintball, I'm going to bring the paint, you little bat. Hey, Mrs. McConnell. He's a gem, really. Like, that was cracking me up as well. I don't know. The humour is just so turned up this season. Like, these last two episodes have been so good with the funny stuff.
I have to assume that they got the memo from last season. People were saying last season was too serious. They missed the fun. And they have to have heard that and gone,
yeah, but this is genuinely the funniest it's ever been.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Season 1 and 2 were never this funny.
I think there's almost a danger of it's overcompensating, where they're going, "Hey, you wanted fun? Fine, we'll give you fun."
See, to be honest though,
but I'm okay with this.
Like, it makes me like the characters more for a start, right? Because they're all being funny. You know, Harry, like, with his like kind of apology to Cisco, where he just makes Cisco say it all, and he goes, "Yeah, that's what pretend I said that."
Yeah, we need to talk about how we got Harry back.
Oh yeah, because Jessie's got her own team over on Earth 2. She's got her own Flash team, and
Jessie and the Quicksters, I believe.
Jessie and
Cisco calls
that's what Cisco called it. And Harry apparently is being too imposing. He's not letting them bond. He's like giving them all demands. But our team wants a Harry. We want a Harry. And it'd be kind of silly to get a fourth Harry, let's be honest. So let's just have this Harry back because he was good.
Still holding out hope.
And, HR's gone. So, yeah, let's keep this Harry. This Harry's cool.
It is.
I like this Harry.
I like Grumpy Harry.
I do like Grumpy Harry. It's the best. And he's like, what was it? Yeah. You don't have a curse, but you should be cursed at. That whole thing. He's about to swear to Cisco as well. That was glorious stuff. Nah, Bad Luck stuff was funny. All the characters were spouting these funny lines. It's the thing. It's like, even when I think the Thinker's not that fun and he's kind of stupid so far, it's like it doesn't matter. I'm having too much fun with everything else going on.
It's the same thing we're saying about Legends, isn't it? It's like, who cares about the plot? Let's just have fun.
Yeah, and that's basically what's happening, and it's playing that way. It's in terms of the actual plot though. So we have Hazard, and I like that a plane starts to go down because she's having too much luck. That it's like the force field of bad luck's getting bigger and bigger. And I was like, is it only cut to her having sex or something? Like that's what I thought it was going to go. Like, that's what the joke was going to be. I was expecting a punchline.
She got lucky.
Yeah. But it turns out she was at a casino, and I'm like, oh, she's just winning repeatedly at a casino. It's like because the guy's like, oh, snake eyes for the 37th time.
Yeah, she's got like 1.6 million or something like that.
Oh, that's good. Oh, actually, yeah, Barry handcuffing himself because he slips on the coins.
And it's Iris's reaction as well.
Like,
she's like, "Oh, babe."
Yeah. Oh dear, I'm sorry.
He's got. I've handcuffed myself, and she's trying not to laugh. She's going, "Oh, babe, come on."
And then a sign falls on top of him, and he's trapped.
Oh, it's glorious.
All of it's great. They're on fire. So I mean, episode 1 because it was bringing, because it had to quickly bring him back, so that was kind of a disappointment. But like these last two,
If we had to have him back, this is the best thing they could have done with it.
oh, absolutely, this is great. This is hilarious.
Like, Wally is the only cost to all of this.
And they can rework him as well. Bring him back. Have him be cracking jokes.
They can.
Have him more involved. Have him doing stuff.
That is amusing. You say that. Last season, he was probably the most, funny. He was the one cracking the jokes.
Yeah, probably.
Like he was always upbeat and cracking jokes, and now it's like, well, I'm sad. I'm going.
Oh no, I had some fun. So so basically the particle accelerator is going to go again, and they'll try to fix it, and then Harry has the bright idea to just let it go because it'll counteract the bad luck juju force field, and it does because reasons. I mean, whatever.
Yeah. Aren't we gonna have a bunch of new metas now?
I think the idea is that the bad luck force field cancelled it out. Like they cancelled each other out. So no metas from this.
I'm calling bullshit.
They may say otherwise later.
It's not often I call bullshit on the science in this show because there's no point. But this one I'm calling
They
bullshit.
don't seem worried about it.
They don't.
They really don't. So I think that's
It's bullshit is the word you're looking for.
that's the reasoning they're going with. There's been more bullshit than that. Remember that Christmas episode where they had like all of the flying things, the drones going out, and it was like going to magically fix everything in every house, even though.
But see, the thing is, I don't care about those ones.
Oh, the frozen lasers! No, this is not worse than the frozen lasers. Don't you even dare tell me it's worse than the frozen lasers. You dare.
It might not be worse than the frozen lasers.
Mm-hmm.
But that was also. But you call that bullshit. I'm calling this one bullshit. Well, we get one each.
So elsewhere though, the other running plot line in here is that Cecile kind of wants Joe to move out into a new place with her because his place is falling apart and there's pipes going everywhere.
And it is not bitching.
That is true, yes, because she starts to sense like, this house says, and he's like, bitching? And if you recall, because it took me a second, see when he said it, I'm like, that was a weird line. Oh wait, that was a thing from episode 1.
I think I see too many shit posts on Reddit to forget.
Yeah. That was the hidden message that Barry, when he was all crazied out, said in that weird language or weird math equation. The house is bitching. This house is bitching.
Bullshit.
So I can't wait until that comes up. Like, what does that mean? Like, it has to come up.
It has to
Properly. Like, it has to mean something later. Or maybe it's just a weird case of like when he was in the Speed Force, he saw something from the future or something, and he saw someone say it at a really important moment, and that's all it is.
What it is? No, he saw Joe say it now. It's a closed loop.
It's not this, because we'll get the closed loop later.
I know.
Get it later. But then he's like, okay, fine, we'll move out. And then she's like, you know what? I've changed my mind. Oh, by the way, Joe. And this was the post stinger, because I love how like Flash has kept this, that they've had a scene, like essentially a post credit scene after the title again at the end, and none of the other shows do it. Which, by the way, some of them had their monologues back this week, but not all of them.
I think Flash is the only one I don't remember it on.
Yeah, Flash is the one that didn't have it.
I noticed it on Arrow on episode 2.
Yeah, Arrow had it earlier last week. Supergirl had it this week, but it was different music that was playing behind it. And there was a different montage because it was like Superman running and opening the shirt, as she said.
Yeah.
So it was different clips, montage. And it was different music. Legends was pretty cool because it was a little bit different. It was differently phrased.
Yeah, I remember that.
Arrows was a little bit interesting this week because it sort of ended with, no, and I'm not the Green Arrow, John Diggle's the Green Arrow, and that was like the end of it.
Yeah. So much for not spoiling the other shows.
That's not a spoiler for this week's episode.
Well, not for this episode, no.
Like, I don't care about spoiling Arrow.
No.
But yeah, Flash didn't. It's interesting because it was notable.
Are you sure?
Yeah, one of them definitely didn't because I noticed it because I noticed it in Supergirl. I was like, oh, I guess these are back, and then Flash didn't. I was like, oh, I guess it's not back in all of them. And then Legends had one for the first time this season, and it was different because it wasn't the same thing at the start. It was like it ended kind of the same, but it started off with we messed up time.
Yeah.
We didn't save the world.
See, this thing because I'm watching them all at the end of the week now. I'm not necessarily sticking to the actual order. I'm typically I'm still doing Flash and then Legends as a general rule, but because Supergirl is kind of off on its own universe, I don't feel the need to watch that in order. So I actually watched Flash first this week, so it's why I'm not too and then I noticed it on Supergirl, so I don't recall it on Flash.
Yeah, it'll probably be there next week now, just because they're being weird and they're.
I mean, to be fair, Flash had it on the first week because it had its Iris version.
Yeah. But that was at least okay. That's because it's Iris and they wanted to do the difference. But now that it's back in the others, maybe like are they just going to like have it and not have it depending if they feel like it? Like, do you know what it might be? It
might be the runtime.
Yeah, we're a minute over. Drop the monologue at the start.
Yeah.
That actually might be
I think
it.
it might. Yeah.
It might actually be that, and that's why it's sometimes there and sometimes not. It just depends if they've got time for it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's the same way how some TV shows they have the opening credits and then the shorter version of the opening credits.
Yeah, it's like a second long because they just want to like quickly do the title and go, okay, more episodes. Yeah, that makes sense. Aye, so Cecile's pregnant. that was what we were getting to.
Yeah.
And Joe just stares at her like he's seen a ghost.
I like how she builds up to it. She's like, you were saying this house was you couldn't imagine anywhere better to raise your kids.
Yeah, it was so obvious where she was going.
And it was like, oh yeah, kids. I should mention.
And he just stares at her blankly, and I'm like, I'm not doing this again. I did this. They've flown the coop. Like, I'm
he looks broken.
He's like, I can't be starting from scratch like this again at my age.
I love that's the ending of the episode. He's just staring off, and she's just going, Joe, Joe, you still there? Hello.
I just want him to go because theoretically, I mean they haven't, but like it is entirely possible that Iris could have gotten pregnant before this happened because she's she's old enough now and she's in a relationship. Like this could have been a weird situation where the grandchild was older than one of the aunties or uncles.
I no. Iris needs to get pregnant. Maybe she isn't just there. They're not telling us yet, so they can go through it together.
Oh yeah. Okay. So yeah. The grandchild and the actual child are both the same age.
Yeah, I think that would be particularly funny.
I guess they could joke and say it's because Barry's a speedster that their kid got there quickly or something. I don't know.
I mean, if they tell us in the next couple of weeks, it's fine.
I don't know. I actually like that idea. The bit that the unborn child's like a speedster, and like the kicking's like really violent, and like Iris is like whoa, the speed force going on in my stomach.
I no. This is why I want it to happen soon, just because then she can complain about that, while Cecile's complain about her regular pregnancy,
and it'll make hers look like nothing because she's got a speedster in her stomach.
And that will be amazing.
That'll be like such a point of contention. Like she feels that her pregnancy's been diminished because she's got a speedster in the oven.
And she's like, hey, you've done this before. This is first time for me, and this is way harder. So,
do you know what it'll do? Like, Cecile will have, like, the extra appetite that you get, but Iris will have the speedster's appetite. Yes. And it'll be like... Because that was even a joke in this one, where they're all getting food at the start, and, like, Barry has, like, 5 things, but everyone else has, like, the one,
Yeah.
corn dog for Iris. Oh, here's three hot dogs and, like,
I did find it weird it wasn't Big Belly Burger.
That's because they were outside. They were getting the local food truck at the park.
Yeah.
They're having
There's
a
always
day
a Big
out,
Belly Burger somewhere.
doing the laser tag. There was Big Belly Burger and Arrow. I knew there was one this week somewhere.
Was that this week?
Yeah, he pops by with
Oh,
Belly Burger.
yeah, you're right.
He does. Oh, I guess that's Flash. Needless to say, we're having a blast with it right now, which is great, because, I mean, we enjoyed a lot of things about last season, but it was typically always like a kind of mixed bag. It was always, we liked this, we didn't like that.
Yeah, like I say, I'm still not feeling the thinker. I'm still concerned that every episode is going to be a meta, and that's all right if they're at least this fun. They're playing it for fun, not it's.
Yeah, that's why I'm not really complaining, because he is kind of weak so far. But like, 2 things: one, I almost don't care because of how much fun it is anyway, and 2, at least it's not a speedster.
And 3, I don't really get what his plan is. It's like, hey, okay, so there's these busload of people. Well,
why is that 3? How's that 3 in a list of reasons why I don't care?
This
is not a complaint.
This is third in my list of complaints. I'm just kind of piggybacking. Like, why is this his plan?
Because I don't know. We don't know his plan yet. I'm sure there's a plan.
But it doesn't seem like a very good plan. It's like, hey, I know nothing about these metas, but hey, they're metas, so let's throw them at him.
Obviously, there's a bigger plan. Oh, by the way, he's got a camera in the in Star Labs. He's spying on them. He knows what he's doing.
He does.
Yeah. Also, I actually did kind of like how his henchwoman was kind of like, what, our plan relies on this ditzy cow? Like, when she's watching the Hazard, like, just be a
Yeah.
goofball, and she's like, really, on her? Like, it's like, silence, child! Don't question my genius. Keep watching.
That's true.
But no, that was a fun episode though. So yeah, I guess that'll take us on to Legends of Tomorrow, season 3, episode 3. It's called Zari, which is also the name of the new character.
Oh, would you look at that? Nice and simple naming.
Nice and simple. And of course, she is from comics. She's part of the Shazam kind of family. She's linked up with Black Adam, mainly from 52. Although I mean, so far, like, this is kind of like they're being kind of loose with what they're doing with her. She's just
very loose.
yeah, she's just someone from 2042. She's from the future.
Do you know what? I'm not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
I had a mild panic at the start of this episode
Why?
because it pops up saying Seattle 2042, and I went to in my head I was thinking I forgot it was I think it was 2046 was the Star City one in the future in season 1.
All right.
But then obviously in the comics the Green Arrow stuff is Seattle as well recently.
Well, it used to be. It's changed to Star City, but yes, it was Seattle
yeah,
for a while.
but for good six years, give or take, maybe longer.
Oh, was it
I can't
Seattle
remember.
during New 52? Fair enough.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was Seattle during New 52
Okay.
as well.
Yeah, that case, yeah, 7 years then.
Yeah. So I was like, and I forgot. Obviously, I remember Arrow did the changing the name of the city, but that was just Starling to start. I forgot it wasn't Seattle, and I panicked thinking we were back in that timeline. I really did.
No. We had the attempt. Water lady Kuasa. She shows up, kind of like T-1000 but with water. That's basically what she does, and she tries to take out Zari, who's a prisoner. She's been transferred because metahumans are illegal, and that's kind of mutant-esque. From if you think
Yeah,
X-Men,
and so's religion.
and religion's also banned. So that's going on, and basically Gary's there, all lovable Gary's a little pipsqueak. He's terrified, and he ends up putting out a distress call. The Legends intercept it, and they come and try and help Zari, and that's where the shenanigans unfold.
And Gary's like, "Wait, you pricks! Where's my actual backup?"
Also, I like the debate of like, well, this should even go. Like Mick's like, nah, let's not save Gary. Gary's awful.
Who cares?
Yeah. By the way, this is a weird complaint, but Jackson's t-shirt in this scene was really distracting me.
I don't recall.
It had like shiny bits on the where the logo would be. There was like shiny bits, and it was like really reflective, and it was annoying the shit out of me. I'm like, it looks like you've stuck like tinfoil, but like black tinfoil to your black t-shirt. It was annoying me.
I'll take your word on it.
It was just annoying me. It was really distracting. Okay, what do you want from me? But they go to 2042, and that sets up our thing. Before we talk about the main plot, though, I want to talk about because for the first like 10-15 minutes, I was like, oh, this episode's okay, but it's not setting my world on fire. Certainly the comedy's not as big in this one.
Yeah, it was more just Mick being Mick.
Yeah, Mick being Plex had a couple of funny moments, but in the plot was going along, and it was fine. Zari seems okay so far, not amazing, but fine. And then, so Amaya sleepwalks at one point as a spider, right? She's on the ceiling, and Stein's like, don't wake a person who sleepwalks.
Yeah, you don't wake a sleepwalker, especially not one who's on the ceiling.
Yeah, and then she falls down all spider-like, and that's why. But and she's like, oh, it's a mystical problem, and they don't believe her, and she has that little lame say, oh, I think I now know what you get. I get what you mean by mansplaining, because they two are like being scientists, like, oh, it'll be this and it'll be this and science this and science that. But then to be fair, Nate does come in and say, look, no, if you say it's mythical, it's mythical. So I did some research on your town, on your village, and it turns out there's this plant that people used to take in your town, your village, to sort out their problems and connect with themselves and like figure out their inner chi and whatever phrasing he was using. Vision Quest, yeah, there you go. And she's like, oh, that might be dangerous. It's like, yeah, that's why I did a quality test on me first. It's like, what, you took it? Yeah, and I feel fine. Tongue's a bit numb. And
yeah, but it's like, but you might want to take it now so we can peek at the same time, because otherwise I'm going to be on my own here.
And they sit down to sort of meditate to go into this, and he keeps making noise, and she keeps telling him to shut up. But it's a really sweet moment. Actually, this is like a big difference. Like because obviously I think there was some obvious comparisons to make last season when they started like having a bit of a relationship to compare it to Kendra and Ray from season 1. Because Kendra and Ray were awful. Every part of it was awful. But here, that little moment where she looks over at him and she kind of like, she feels something because he's being sweet, he's trying to help, and he's like, he's taking this drug that might kill him to help her, and there's nothing said. It's just a look, a little bit of music, and it's a sweet little moment, and you get it. Like, mistakes have been learned from, and it works as a nice little moment where I actually care about these two as a pair, and that's good. That's great. But she goes on her vision quest, and she basically talks to an ancestor who's like, yeah, embrace your power. Your power's linked to, like, your totem is linked to this new girl, Zari. She's got like a medallion thing. You're intertwined. Your fates are going to overlap. Keep her safe.
Not gonna lie, during this whole segment, I kind of zoned out a little bit. It was a bit too plot exposition-y.
Yeah, that was probably the worst scene of the episode. I mean, I'm fine with what it's setting up, but it's just on its own.
I mean, I get it. They got to do it, but I was just like, I'm not feeling it.
Nate, on the other hand.
Oh yeah, let's get to the fun stuff.
Nate, on the other hand, they get so the Legends are in trouble. They're doing stuff with Zari. We'll talk about the main plot in a bit. But he's like, oh, bring the Wave Rider.
Who cares about plot?
Yeah, bring the Wave Rider to us. We're in trouble. And he's like, fine. He's like, sort of like, you have that wide, lens effect where he's like, struggling
and
to walk.
Everything seems really long.
And he gets to the bridge, so it's all very amusing. And it cuts to this like close-up shot of him, and he's like, it's as if he's going really fast. And he starts quoting Star Trek. He's like, "She can't take it, Captain. The engines can't take any more." Although his Scottish accent did leave something to be desired, but points for trying.
But it's fine because it's him doing an awful impression while high.
Sure. But as a Scottish person, I do have to point out his Scottish accent was basically not there. It was like this weird voice he was doing that wasn't anything. Yeah. But yeah, she can't take it, Captain.
I like the idea that in his head it was perfect.
Yeah. And then the joke is, of course, that Gideon goes, but the engines are still idle, Nathaniel.
Yeah, we're still idling.
And it cuts to a shot outside, and this bird flies. But even though they're in the time vortex, and we've never seen any animals in the time vortex, it's not in the sky. It's in like the time sphere.
I don't care.
But there's a bird flying past to show that it's not barely moving.
Comedic effect. It's worth it.
And then it cuts back inside, and he's like, "Now why does my face feel like it's melting off?" And he does a Kirk impression where he's like. And he sort of like turns to the side really quickly.
Oh, man. So I also, just a side note, Gideon, new MVP.
Oh yeah, Gideon's good. Yeah.
This time we had to go. Oh bollocks.
We did have her.
And also, she called Ava a bitch.
She did. Yeah, she did it. That. Oh man, that Star Trek joke here.
She just. I don't know, but just Gideon going, "Oh, that bitch." Help me.
I don't know. Just. It was neat though, and then later on the meta joke where he sits down in the chair and he's like, "I love this show." That was good. But the Star Trek bit was my favourite. His whole trippiness. But my second favourite was like after Saren that's back in the ship and he comes into the room and he's got his hand over his eyes. He's like,
I can see through my hand.
And then he takes it away and he looks at Sarah's like, "I want your face," and he comes towards her, and like Sarah's look like she's about to kill him. She is ready.
He's just like, "No, don't do that."
Yeah, like if he made contact, his hands were going to be broken. Like that's what it looked like.
That's why I love when she's on the way out. He just reaches out and touches her, just because he can. And Jax just rushes her away, and he turns around and goes, "Cobra."
Oh. His timing here was impeccable. I have to commend it.
Oh man, I didn't know he had the comedic chops. I really didn't.
He's had some good lines occasionally.
But not to this extent.
This was gold. It was funny how because Flash was so funny. I watched them back to back. So after that, it was like, and I usually expect Legends to be the funniest. And for the first like 10-15 minutes, it was like, it had its moments, but it wasn't. And then it got to this stuff, and it was like, oh no, okay, it's competing now. Now it's a fight.
No, you say you watch them back to back. I think it's interesting that they did, because they've moved it so they are next to each other now. And I do wonder if they've gone, hey, no, we want these together now, because they make a good double bill. Like tonally, these kind of flow. Yeah,
maybe simply be that. So. Yeah, the main plot. So, Kuasa's trying to hunt down Zari. Zari's like not wanting help, and she refuses to help. She gets them in trouble with the Argus like police force at first, and then she eventually gets on the ship. In fact, as much as funny as Nate is, there's actually a moment that may be funnier in this episode because it's in this scene. Zari's on the ship and she's all impressed with the ship and she's looking at computers and stuff, and then Gary comes running in and he's like, whoa, she can't be here, she pushes her back, he's like, she can't see his equipment, no one from this time period should know that time travel exists. And then everyone in the room is just like, Gary. And she's like, you're time travelers? And he's like, oh, that's on me. Oh.
Everyone was like, for God's sake, Gary.
Like, they were just passing it off. This is just a ship. This is just, you fly somewhere. That's all it is.
Yeah, we got a spaceship. It's cool.
Yeah. That cracked me up. So yeah, so they're there, and she gives them this story about her brother's in prison, in metahuman prison. It turns out, though, her brother's already dead. She's just going there to get the evidence, the amulet that she wants to wear. Which, at least as far as this show has shown us so far, when she actually uses it, is basically just like wind powers right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope they actually do some Shazam stuff. And when I say Shazam stuff, all I just mean is like actual some lightning strikes or something, or I don't know.
Yeah, but then I feel like combined with the wind, you kind of then you're just making a knockoff Storm.
No, I'm not saying I want her to strike people with lightning per se. I just want, I don't know,
some lightning imagery.
Yeah, it's just some Shazam looking things.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Just give her the outfit, maybe then. Give her the black and gold.
Yeah.
With the bolt. Do that. That'll work for me. Yeah. Little cape. But I feel like she's just going to have this amulet and she's going to have some wind powers occasionally. That's probably what they're going to do with her. So
probably.
That's a shame. It's a shame that the first ever Shazam character we get in live action TV. Well, actually, that's the lie. There was some show back in the 70s or something. But in my lifetime,
first one that anyone remembers and anyone cares about.
Yeah, the first Shazam character we get. That's it. We're getting Zachary Levi playing actual Captain Marvel, and
yeah, we can't complain, can we?
So it's coming. But yeah, so it's whatever. Small moment is when they go and get her at the bar. It was funny that Mick was like, "Whoa, they're at my bar. This was my bar."
Yeah.
But I did think it was weird how, Sarah's just like, "Oh, cause of distraction, so we can get away from this Terminator water chick," and he just starts a bar fight, which was funny in and of itself. But then, how does that stop her? She can turn into water and just chase you. I just thought it was weird.
To be fair, they don't know that yet, though, do they? They haven't seen her do that because it's even in this scene, they're like, "Oh, it's her," and it's as they're getting away that she kind of changes to water and moves, and that's kind of like the moment that they're supposed to learn.
Okay. Fair enough. It doesn't explain why she still can't catch them, though.
No, it doesn't.
Okay. I mean, I don't really care that much. Like I say, I'm having fun, so whatever.
Do you know what? I was going to say as well, like not to this thing specifically, but when Argus come and arrest them all, and they come in with they go, they read out the names and they go, "You're all wanted for, being metahumans,"
and half of them aren't.
No, there was 4 of them there. There was Ray, not a meta.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah, not a meta. Mick, not a meta, and Nate, I think. Which
Yeah. Well, to be fair, I kind of read it as it wasn't so much that they were specifically metas themselves, but it was something like you've been involved in meta activity, which would also mean just working with metas.
I guess it was the metahuman like registration stuff though. I was like, you're kind of telling me it's their metas, but they're not.
Go back and look at the scene again. I think it was
I'm gonna have to.
I think it was just as simple as you've worked with. I don't want to compare it to something dark, but it's kind of like the Nazis in World War II. Obviously their target were, for example, Jewish people. But if someone else who wasn't Jewish helped a Jewish person, then they were also carted off.
No, I'm with you.
That's it's a dark example, but that's kind of what I was getting from it. To be fair, it's a fascist state, so I mean, it's probably quite.
It is appropriate, yeah.
So Zari's, upset. Her family's not made it. She's kind of the only one left. She's got her amulet, and she's going to stay back. But then Amaya comes and is like, "No, we're linked. You should come with us." And she's like, "But I'm not a hero." And then Mick's like, "Neither am I." And I'm like, "Yeah, he's right. He's not."
Yes, because potentially the best running joke of this episode, not because that excludes Nate, because I'm talking about running joke.
Okay.
Is him wanting to shoot people and not being able to with his flamethrower.
Yeah, because they have a fight early on, and then they knock everyone else out before he gets a chance.
Yeah, he's pointing, and then one of the teammates just jumps in every time. He's like, and then he literally throws his gun down. He goes, "I wanted to shoot someone."
I like to think that in the first take of that, he broke the prop. Like the prop's just in shatters, and they had to rebuild it because he threw it down too hard. That'd be fun.
Of course, they had his Prison Break reference.
Oh yeah, Prison Break. I like it.
Very good. I mean, I
Yeah.
suppose if we're doing Titanic ones, then we might as well do Prison Break. Both
That's
ones
like-
we've done before.
Yeah, they have. The last one was even more cringe, because it was both of them in the scene together, and they looked at each other like, "Oh, Prison Break, we can do that." Like, very good, guys, very good. Yeah. So it seems like she's joined the team, which is cool. She seems okay so far.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have much of an opinion either way, I'll be honest.
She seems headstrong. She seems like a smartass, which I like. So I'm already getting a sense of a character. She doesn't seem like a blank slate, which is nice.
No, she's definitely not blank, but I wouldn't say I like her or dislike her.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I like her yet, but I like that she's not just a, I feel like she's more than just a plot so far, at least. She actually has a character.
No, that's true.
So, we got a tease. Well, actually, we didn't even mention that the Time Bureau show up. Ava shows up in her ship, her giant time ship that's huge, and Sarah's not very happy when they get shot at. It's a warning shot. And she's like, okay, fine, we'll hand over the coordinates for where things are going down.
And she's like, Gary, you're dead.
Yeah. And she just rides off. And it all results in a game of chicken, where she's like, yeah, well, we're just going to ram into you, and you're going to die, and we're all going to die, and that's fine. And Ava, of course, time jumps away, because she's just doesn't have the balls that Sarah does, so that's just kind of the...
Yeah. No one has the balls that Sarah does.
But she's very upset at Gary.
Yeah.
As one would imagine.
I think I'm really going to enjoy this Gary stuff. I hope he turns out to be the evil mastermind.
Yeah, because Ava was basically, I don't care what Rip said, like, you're basically our number one wanted now. Like, we're coming after you. That was basically our final point. So eventually they're going to have to work together. You know they are, and it's going to be glorious.
Because it's gonna be revealed that Gary is Malice. And they'll be like, well, guess we're going to have to team up. And then they'll just make jokes about, really, Gary?
That'll be upsetting, because they'll take away Goofy Gary.
Yeah.
That'll be upsetting. So they beat Kuasa with Amaya basically is like embraces our power and basically turns into an elephant and hits her across the across the field.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
So good fun. Of course, we should mention the final scene, the little tease for presumably next week.
Yeah, makes sense.
So we have some very obvious aping of ET score going on, as there's a bunch of kids on bikes. One in particular is being chased by the rest, the nerdy kid, if you will.
Yeah, and they're like, you nerd.
Aye.
Like, they actually shout after him.
You nerd. Insults were really bad in the 80s, you know that?
Weren't they?
And the kid hides in like this pipe, this sort of like bit of pipe that's underneath some ground, and he's hiding from the kids. But there's a monster in the pipe. Something in the shadows. You just see the eyes. And this kid goes, hey, how are you? I'm Ray Palmer. cut to. So Ray was always an idiot. We've established that, first and foremost.
I mean, that doesn't surprise me.
So we're going to be meeting Ray as a kid next episode then, I imagine, with the full team. And
I hope they all just go, wow, you were always dumb.
Yeah, I feel like what we're going to get is little Ray's going to be like, oh, I hope I'm this and this and this in the future. And old Ray's going to be like, get a midlife crisis because he realises he's nothing what he wanted to be.
Yeah, I think Mick is going to have a lot of fun. Because even in this way, it's like, if anyone's going to kill Haircut, it's me.
Yeah. In fact, if anything, actually, I could see it being a sweet little story of how he actually teaches little Ray to stick up for himself. It'll be Mick that actually
yeah, I can see it.
gives him some bonding advice or some Big Brother style advice. Yeah. I can see that being a thing. But it was an okay little scene. I'm curious to see where it goes next
I'm
week.
looking forward to it because I'm sure it'll be fun.
Yeah, which is what Legends has been doing since it got better in Season 2. So there we go. So I guess that leaves but one show.
Yeah, I thought we were going on to the the rankings.
Oh, no, we have one more. We have Arrow Season 6, Episode 3 is called Next of Kin. Full spoilers. I haven't said that for the other ones, but for some, I went into autopilot. I'm so used to doing these at the start.
Yeah, you got so into autopilot, and I didn't want to correct you because I didn't really want to do it anymore because I couldn't be bothered. But after that first one, you were like, "I'm going to do this on this now. We're going to go. Oh, did you like it or not?" Before we talk about it, and then you forgot.
Then I forgot for every single other one. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. Thea's still been credited, by the way, just for the record.
I added dodgy Thea mention
Yeah.
to my drinking game.
I wish she was here. If only,
Yeah,
if only she was
every
around.
time awkward reference to Thea is now half a drink.
Oh, very cool, very cool. So I'll give the opening scene some credit. I enjoyed the action moment where Diggle, as Green Arrow, jumps off the building and Black Canary fires a scream at him to like sort of catapult him across to another rooftop.
Pretty inventive.
I
I
liked
think
it.
he could do with some more padding because when he
Yeah.
lands on that car, ouch.
I agree, but it was a cool little action idea. It's one of the best action things they've done in a long, long time, and I will applaud it
Oh, it's true.
for doing something that I thought, oh, that was cool.
Looked a bit
Unfortunately,
rough, but I'll let it pass.
yeah. Unfortunately, it was only 5 minutes later or so where we see Felicity's
Cool. You can tell what this episode was about, can't you?
Felicity's board or glass board. She's got like name IDs for her and Curtis's company, and right above the one she's writing, it says Oracle.
Mm,
I lost my shit.
yeah.
The cats will tell you. Firefly's just jumped down at my feet. Like he'll tell you. There was swearing. There was things being thrown across the room. Maybe even the cats themselves.
I mean, all I can say is it's not as bad as last time they made that reference.
It's not as bad because it's just a word on the board. But it reminded me of that last time. So
Yeah, but nothing will match your rage from
oh
that
sure,
time.
yes, that was.
Go back and watch. It's spectacular.
I was not a fan of that Oracle name drop.
I
and
think
that,
I think Peter will add a little thing in the corner now so that you can go and.
that means I need to find out what episode it was myself.
I know, that's why I said it now, so
God
that you have
damn
to
it.
do that.
You asshole. It was like season 4 episode. It was in the teens, I think. It was like 13,
Yeah, but
14-ish range.
I've said it now. You've got to go put it.
God damn it. Anyway, so that was the action scene. So they're tracking this dude who was working with Black Siren, this arms dealer dude, and he gets away because Diggle's still having a rough
Shit.
time. Yeah, he's still I think, yeah. So the key points that because I don't pay as much attention during Arrow for obvious
I'm
reasons.
drunk during Arrow, so
So here's the pointers coming out of this one, right? So we have a lot of Olicity stuff in this one, where he brings her a big belly burger. He asks her to tutor William. Oh, there you go. I was just gonna say his son, but yeah, William. William will do. Because Oliver's shit at math, because of course he is, and she's really good at math, and she's really good with the kid. So he comes basically then and says, "Hey, here's a key to my apartment. How about we?"
Do you know what, before we got to that, it was, she was there with the kid, and after she leaves, it's like, she's really cool. I'm like, they're doing a mum thing with her. I'm like,
Kind of have to. She's going to become the mum.
well, yeah, but I didn't want it. I was like, they're doing this.
Hey, this was inevitable. Inevitable. This was always going to happen. And yeah, so that's that, I guess. I don't. I mean, like I'm trying to think of a hot take on this Olicity stuff, and honestly, it's just like, yeah, it wasn't that terrible, but it wasn't exactly
It's awful in principle.
principle, but certainly not the worst it's been by
Not
any
yet.
means. By any means.
I mean, just the fact that it exists again is kind of more annoying, though. It's like, like it's almost more offensive, even though it's not doing anything as bad. It's more offensive that it's back again.
If she accuses him of lying once, that is when I'll flip my shit. See, if they're just together and they're just happy, it's fine, whatever. Do your thing.
Yeah, but she referenced her mum, so I'm not having it. No, I'm not happy.
Oh, if Mama Smoke shows back up. Oh man, I remember when she was dating Lance, and we were having some rough times.
They'd better not invite her to the wedding. I'm on about the Flash Iris wedding for the crossover.
I don't think so.
They just don't do it.
Oh, that'll all be bad. Yeah, so you got all this that's happening. Diggle's struggling. He almost gets lots of people killed. There's an explosion actually. They're trying to get this truck. He fails miserably to make a call. And my problem here is it's a really obvious sort of moment where it's just like, oh, we have two directions to go. There's four of us, two of us can take one and two of us can take the other. Why someone else doesn't shout that out instead of just standing there waiting for him to answer, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Renee's like, "Come on, man, what you doing? Get your head in the game. Make a decision." I'm like, "Well, you just run after it then." And then after it explodes, he's like, "I couldn't catch it." I was like, "No, of course you couldn't. You're on foot, and it's a bloody truck." And and I'm going, "If you're really that, but why don't you just run straight away? Just go look. As soon as Diggle hesitates, just go right. I'm going for that. You deal with this. I'm going for that."
no, I can't.
He shifts all the blame onto Diggle, and it's he should take some responsibility.
Also, I was laughing really hard in this episode because they tried to use something as a plot point, which doesn't work when it was a legit complaint for like most of last season.
Which thing?
Diggle says out loud, eventually someone's going to notice that Green Arrow's not shooting any arrows.
Yeah, do you know what? Even before that happened, it was when he was chasing her down. He was inside the parking lot, and he just runs in and starts hitting her, or the goons. I can't remember if it was who it was.
Whoever he's hitting.
Yeah. And I'm like, it's really convenient. Oliver forgot how to shoot for a while and has just been hitting for so long that this doesn't look weird.
Yeah, they give him like a fancy crossbow at the end that actually fires full-sized arrows.
Yeah. But I did think it was really strange where, like the news outlets were immediate, and, the investigators are immediately going, "Oh, this is weird. He's not firing any arrows." I'm like,
yeah, did you watch? Were you looking at him last season? Like,
I was like, did you miss the last year and a half where he fired maybe 6 arrows?
Of course, the FBI agent is still on his tail. He still thinks it's Oliver. It's like, oh, someone else is in the hood. It's all you. I'm going to crack this case. So she's determined to do that. Diggle is actually not okay. He claims to be okay. Turns out to avoid his tremors, he's actually juicing. He's buying drugs off of someone to keep himself straight.
I'm not gonna lie, the reveal cracked me up because as soon as that scene starts, it's trying to hide him, but it's really obvious that it's Diggle.
Yeah.
And then it kind of, you see him put it in and inject it, and then it shows him his face, and it's like, well, obviously.
Yeah, it was just obvious that's where it was going. Like,
but like, even before I knew what the scene was, I could see it was Diggle.
Yeah. It's funny because I theoretically like the idea of like when they get called away in missions, like because there's a little moment where Felicity's like, it's weird going away to one of these calls and you not coming, like because Oliver's staying behind because he's doing the mayor thing.
Yeah.
Not for long because we know he's back in the hood for the crossover, but.
Honestly, I was convinced it was happening this episode. You know that moment where when Renee comes up and goes, "Hey, you can't handle this," and it does that look, and he cuts, cut to ad break on the music sting, and he's like, "Maybe I need to step in." I was like, "Okay, so that lasted half an episode."
Yeah, now we're going a bit longer than that. I mean, I don't hate that they used the tennis balls for him to test his crossbow. It was a nice callback to the start of the show.
Yeah, they also referenced the list.
Which is weird. It's weird whenever they bring that up, because he was literally a hitman at that point.
I mean, at least, in context, at least he was going, yeah, I was kind of a hitman, and you stopped me being a hitman.
Sure.
If you read between the lines a little bit.
Does that eradicate the fact that he did actually hunt down and kill lots of people?
No, it doesn't.
Yeah. This is the thing, whenever I'm watching Arrow, I think, you know what, if Batman was in this universe, Batman would put a stop to him.
Yeah, he would have done.
He would not be happy about it. He would take them all out and put them all behind bars because he would not be cool with any of this.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially Whale Dog. Every time Whale Dog starts firing his guns at bad guys, I'm like, well, even if Oliver's not got his no killing rule in play, like Whale Dog's just firing guns at people.
Yeah. He just jumps out with his dual pistols and just starts firing all the time.
So the big thing from this episode that we end on is that, Lance is very conscientious of the fact that they're making the police look bad because, like, they're being undermined because, the Arrow and everyone else just keeps, like, solving cases and whatnot. And he wants to push through this bill. He wants to sort of help. Someone else wants to push through this bill about vigilantes. He wants to sort of get involved with it so they can kind of,
neuter it
a bit. Yeah, soften it up a little bit so that it doesn't hurt their allies too much. And then Oliver comes in at the end with an idea that instead of just, helping pass it or not pass it, he's going to hold a referendum and the city will vote if there should be a bill on vigilantes. So we've got a
Yeah.
vote to campaign for one way or the other for the next little while.
Yes, maybe they'll do what's going on in Catalonia and Spain right now, where they'll have the referendum and they'll go, "No, we like vigilantes," and then they'll go, "Well, tough. You're having vigilante. You're not having them."
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But I thought, okay, all right, big moment. We're having a referendum, I guess.
Yeah.
Uh,
I will say I appreciate that they found a way to keep the workouts in the because obviously Diggle can't really do the workouts right now because he's screwed, and Oliver's not there to do the workouts.
so Dinah's doing some workouts.
So we get Dinah doing them now. I'm like, okay, unless there's someone doing them,
Yeah.
it's a staple.
Also, I've never even mentioned the bad guy in this episode. She's just kind of this assassin chick that tries to let off a poisonous gas to kill lots and lots of people. And they stop her. Which again, I kind of like the Black Canary uses her power to get rid of the gas to an extent.
Yeah, it was inventive. There was a weird moment where Felicity was going, "Oh, this gas, what it does is awful," and and she shows them on the video screen, and the way she was talking about it was like it was doing something to making them die horrifically.
Yeah, so well, I mean,
And
this is still horrific, but the way she talks about it is if this is something different than normal, and then we see the footage, and it's like, no, this is what every gas attack from.
Right, exactly. It was you see one body and then just a bunch under the sheets,
Yeah.
and okay, a lot of dead people, not good, obviously. Not that she can talk, the nuking bitch, but
10,000 people she killed.
yeah, yes, but the way she was talking about it, I thought it was like, no, this was disfiguring them. They were melting from this gas or something. I was like, and then it was like, okay, so it was a gas attack. It was awful, but it wasn't like the way she was selling it.
No one needed to see footage because they all know what a gas attack is.
Exactly.
Which, by the way, there was a really cool moment in the hotel or whatever it was where they go to fight this, where every team member jumps out into the foyer in slow motion, and I liked the moment on its own because it was kind of nice. They're coming from all sides, and then I'm like, but why are they actually having this entrance? Because they all just get to the middle of the room and go, right, what are we going to do?
Yes, you're right. Why don't they coordinate before this?
It was this big epic entrance, and all the public around them are all surprised that Green Arrow and Mr. Terrific are all jumping out. What's going on? And then they all stand in the middle of the room and they're like, right, what's the plan? And I'm like, that was what the slow motion build up with every single member jumping out from a different part of the room was.
That's the build up where you jump in and then spring into action.
Yeah,
do that and you're cool.
But they did not.
No, they didn't. Because Arrow is not cool.
Dear. No flashbacks again this week.
No, I appreciate that. I think I got about 15 minutes in. I was like, hang on, there hasn't been a flashback yet.
That's 2 in a row.
I like it.
Yeah, it's better. I'll give it that. I don't have to put up with Russian crap or Hong Kong crap or island crap.
I miss making fun of the awful edits in and out.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie.
Oh well, that's Arrow. Unless there's something else that you want to talk about that I'm blanking on.
No, it's Arrow. I don't give a shit.
Alright. There you go. Oh, there was a Cord Industries mention.
Yeah, but it's like the 1,000th Cord Industries mention on Arrow.
It was the actual building.
I'm kind of over them by now. Didn't we see Cord at one point?
I don't know, did we? I can't remember.
I'm sure we did. I'm sure it was on a helicopter at some point.
This show just kind of goes in one eyeball and out the other.
Yeah, maybe I'm mixing this up with another show. I don't even know. Maybe I'm mixing them up with someone else entirely. I have no idea.
I guess we're at the picking our favourite moments and ranking the episodes portion of the show.
Okay.
So, what was your favourite scene of the week?
It's got to be Nate trying to steer the ship.
It's hard.
I'm not gonna lie. Nothing. There was the good scenes in all the other shows.
Yeah.
But I didn't enjoy anything as much as that scene as a whole.
Honestly, I'm going to have to be boring and agree because it's the one that sticks out most in my mind. You can't take it, Captain. That was just. That punchline was just phenomenal. All right, ranking the shows then. If I'm going first, I'd probably put Flash at number 1 again, Legends at number 2, Supergirl at number 3, and then have some space,
Arrow at like 1,000.
bit of dead air, and then Arrow.
I think I'm gonna have to put Legends on top. I think.
Oh, okay.
Then Flash, then Supergirl.
I think Flash was just more of a complete package for me compared to Legends.
That's fair.
They're fairly close though. They're fairly close.
Yeah.
It's a shame because I think Supergirl had a couple of really standout moments, but there was just things dragging it down to keep it from that top spot again. So yeah, I think this is the first week we've actually had different picks as well.
I think it might
For
be.
number one. I think it's the first week we've had different ones.
I think it's because I don't think either of them are stand out better than the other this time, though. Whereas, the last two, it's been quite clear, I think.
There you go. And I'm starting to yawn, so clearly it's time to wrap this show up and say our goodbyes and whatnot. So that has been this week's Television from the Multiverse. Let us know what you thought of all the various episodes of DC shows this week in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on Twitter at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. Of course, we also have our DC Comics podcast, Comics from the Multiverse, which we've been doing since the start of Rebirth mid last year. We're 75 episodes into that, actually. We talk about all the comic books that come out every week from DC, and we have a good fun with that. That's me, Connor, and Matt. We all talk about that. Also, if you want to support the show and support the channel, head over to patreon.com/mailedfuzztv. You can do that over there and get some bonuses and stuff. But yeah, so that is us. So thank you once again for watching. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV, and always remember, we screw up for the better.